don't really know what it's like today. I did do a refresher course in the 1970s, and I found that the way they taught anatomy was quite different to the way we'd learnt it on the boards. They were doing it in layers on the arm, for instance, and I thought the physiology was different as well. We learnt it by we had to have our own bones, the arm and leg bones, and we had I can't remember. Oh, I don't know whether we had greys. We probably did. And then we had the practical sessions with the BODs in the anatomy department. And I've given my body to the medical school because I'm going to be a BOD. There was so much we had to learn, and it was be slow to sink in that amount of time was spent on the leg. And of course, from a massage point of view, it's the largest part of the body, isn't it? Yeah. I can't remember. We did do massage for the face. I remember Bell's palsy and Biscott's and that sort of thing, and also ultraviolet for people with spots and things. I can't remember all the things. I was looking for my Proson, but I couldn't find it. Miss Service used to take us for, we used pulleys and things for straightening people out if they've got a scoliosis or something. We must have spent hours and hours doing that on each other in the gym, and I seem to remember that as being, a long session. I don't suppose that's done at all these days. Oh, we always used heat. Everybody had a radiant heat lamp on them, and I found that when I went back to do my 6 months at Auckland, that was what happened there as well. And you had two patients, and one had the heat and then you did put the heat to the other one and gave this one the first one the treatment, and after I'd done that refresher course in the 1970s, I was advised to do, was it ultrasound that we didn't do when we qualified? And I had an opportunity I was advised to do that, so I went to Auckland Hospital, and I had to study the theory, and the head physio gave me an oral, and I had to do so many hours of practical, which I did in the gym. And the gym, not the gym, the ward on the lower floor of the Auckland Hospital, and it seemed to me that the same patients were the same as were there when I was there as a student in 1944. They were mostly men raising a leg, and you ask them how did they do this. It was either football or a motorbike accident, and they were having the same quadriceps exercises, heat, massage, so on. They were having this more. I suppose the heat, the heat got more complicated from an infrared lamp. But that's really. We didn't have that I can remember. We did. I don't know whether we had shortwave. I can't remember about that. But I've used it when I was working in hospitals. Mm-hmm. But I've really only worked in that. When I went to Sydney, and I was running out of money, and I saw an advertisement in the Sydney Morning Herald for a locum, and I'm not very good in telephone boxes, and the place where I lived, I was in a little bed sit on the North Shore, you couldn't make outgoing calls, you could only receive calls, so I tried to ring this number, and I hate telephone boxes, so I went there, and it was a children's hospital in Paddington, and they, "Can you start tomorrow?" That was the greeting I got. So I had to go, and I had to buy back into the town to buy a uniform because I didn't have anything like that with me, and they didn't supply them. And I didn't have any credentials with me whatsoever. But I worked there, and I really loved it. It was a new hospital, and it had been put up by the nuns, and they had it on a star shape, and it had each patient's bed, the head of the bed, they had all the suction and all the things you needed there. And I wasn't the only one on. There was another person there, so I was sort of able to see what was to be done, and it was amazing. And treating babies was the part that I enjoyed doing. And when I came to work in National Women's, and later on I worked in Princess Mary, the Children's Hospital. After I'd done that course, Miss Simmers, it was the head physio at Auckland, and she offered me a job at the Children's Hospital. And I used to give them treatment, tip them upside down, hold them on my leg, and give them the percussion and so on. And the mothers, some of the island mothers, they say, "I'm not having you bash my baby." And it was, did a little pamphlet, and with the upside down tree, and I got it into the different languages, and to show them, to teach them to do it for their own babies. And that was one part of it that I enjoyed very much.